Hello, teachers, and it is the end of the year almost. We're still in April, but May is right around the corner, and our countdown has officially begun. So, as we start planning for those end of the year engagement strategies, especially after we have finished testing, what does that really look like? So, that's what we're going to go over quickly today in your bite sized moment. So, looking at our purposeful planning, some objectives from this mini PD is to understand how to gather student feedback, to guide your post testing planning. Because I know we're all through going through the whether that be EOC testing, AP testing, EOPA testing, final exams. We're all going through the testing season. How do we design and implement 2 week cumulative projects? Because we only really have a solid 2 weeks where we're not really distracted by everything that's going on, that we can really implement some projects that are effective within our classroom. And how do we explore, or how are we going to explore those choice boards and differentiation engagement strategies? So today, these are some things that I want you to take away and implement when you are planning for post test. So the learning does not stop when we talk about our end of the year engagement. Why planning still matters for after testing? Well, students still need instructor. They still need structure and purpose. They do not need idle time. Off task behavior is what that's going to lead to. It's going to lead to an influx of kids trying to go to the gym or just not showing up to school at all because they don't see it to be a purpose because they feel like they've already taken the test. But we got to kind of change that mindset. This is a time to deepen the creativity and application, make it more real world, get them wanting to come those last couple of days because it looks different from the other pieces of the semester. And then help students reflect on what they've learned. So let's start off with student surveys. You may not do this already, and some teachers might, but think about how effective it could be if you gave your current students a survey about how they learn within your classroom. And it's also good feedback for you to be able to decipher what your class needs to look like in the next, maybe the next semester or for the end of the year project that you want them to do. It's going to help gauge that interest. Look at the reflect, just give you a sense of reflection and look at preferences for learning because it might be something that you've done or you've always done and you feel like this works best, but is it working best for your students that you currently have, or is it going to work best for the students that you have coming up? So it's just a chance to have a self-reflection on your teacher practices. What topics did you enjoy the most this year? That's some things that you can ask your students. You can ask what skills did they use this semester to help them be successful in your class? What activities did they enjoy in your class? It's always good to know. You might see them glow about different projects or different assignments that you might give them, but allow them a chance to actually give you the feedback on like, oh, I love Miss Jones' activity when we had to go through the reading and we had to bookmark it and then we had to write down a vocabulary. That might be something that they want to highlight. So allow them a chance to actually highlight some activities that they did in your class. What are some things that you would like to add to this course or change about this course? This would be a chance for you to get a reflection to know how to move forward. You can simply put this together on a Google form. You can make a paper survey. You can have a classroom discussion, but it's just a way to be reflective and to give feedback. So that's number one. One thing that you can do at the end of the year for engagement is student surveys. The next thing is to do a cumulative project. You really have, I'm only going to give it to you in a 2 week window because I think that you don't need too much time, but you want to make it cumulative. You want to look at some of those high standards. Also, it's a good time to look at vertical alignment. How can you put some of these standards into place as they're going to the next class or next course? What are some things I can throw in this cumulative project that only encompasses what we talked about this semester and within this course, but what they might experience when they go to the next course? So look at your vertical alignment that we did back in the semester and figure out those pinpoints of where you can actually move students forward and give them some type of enrichment. So it's really 6 steps to looking at how to design a 2 week project. The first thing you want to do is define the purpose of the project. Is if it is for enrichment, what standards or key skills do you need to look at for them to move forward, or what are some of those skills that you want to reinforce before they get to the next step? The second thing is to gather student input. Maybe decide on what students want out of their cumulative project. And this is something you can kind of just do quickly, maybe just a quick write or a quick question during your warm up one day this week or next week. And you can really just decide if you should have a choice board or should you do a board project, should you do a game, what should it be that they're actually creating. Then from there, you can really build the choice board. Provide about 6 to 9 diverse tasks and options. You want to kind of hone in on writing as a project, performance, design, and something with a technical piece, something with technology that will help them have a multitude of tests. You are things that they can choose from. Also, that's going to pull on their learning styles that because they can choose what works best for them. The fourth thing that you want to do while creating this project is to set a structure. On week one, really just plan, research, do some check ins. Week two is really where they should be doing the creating, they should be finalizing those topics, and then they should be ready to present this project. Also, maybe completing some daily goals like, okay, on Monday, I want you to have this, this, and this done. Just having them a timeline and checkpoints that they can check in on to make sure that they are completing the project and they're using their time wisely to do that. The fifth piece of this is to provide tools and support. Make sure you have a clear rubric, examples of the product. If you don't have examples, let them know that they're going to become an example so that you can do this further on within the your years to come. Make sure you plan for mini lessons because there might be a chance for you to address misconceptions that you see while you are facilitating the project. Look at templates, graphic organizers that you can use to help support students as they go through the project and they can have something to go back and reference. And then do some one on one check ins or group check ins to make sure that you are guiding and facilitating while they are working on the project. So if they are having a class period to work on something and you're giving them that amount of time, be sure to make sure that they are on task and they are doing the needed task within class. Also, specify that this is an in class assignment. This is not something that I want you to take home and complete. So maybe you have a designated area within your classroom where they can leave the project and they know that during that class period they can come back and they can work on it. Last but not least, building a time where they can actually showcase and reflect on the project, a presentation, gallery walks, peer feedback, something that is going to have a reflection or showcase piece in it. Give them a chance to tell what they learned, what did they learn about themselves while doing this project. Give them opportunities to actually explain and elaborate on what they've done in this process. Now, another piece that we can look at as well is, and this is really my number three, because we've already talked about student surveys, we talked about a 2 week project that's cumulative. The last thing that we can really look at is small groups, but not too much for interventions, but for us to move students forward. So that's going to help support curiosity, giving them small groups to work in within these last couple of weeks, explore enrichment topics that they can be doing within vertical alignment, address unfinished learning that they might have not got to before the state test. So now you really can put this in and make sure that they grasp the concept and they actually can do it in a smaller setting. Look at your jigsaw puzzle, or no, not jigsaw puzzles, but your jigsaw method where students can go into groups, become experts, and then have to elaborate and bring the information to the rest of the class to ensure that they have learned and got it. Create a book club by genres, passion projects, STEAM challenges. So let's tap into those artwork, that artsy side of our students as well, by allowing them to not only go through science, but allow them to add it into art. And then Socratic seminars and real world issues are always good to address within your classroom. So when you're setting up your small groups, some logistics and tips, always think about the timing talk about the grouping, how you're going to group the students, what are you going to use to group the students, and then think about the actual setup of your classroom to look like stations in different zones for them to really understand they are working within the group. So sometimes when we just have the desks in rows and we say, okay, you're a group, you're a group, you're a group, it doesn't really feel like groups for our students. So let's put them into an actual area, turn the desk, and make it a full group. The last thing is our tips. Look at accountability. Use checklists, peer reviews, rubrics to help you with making sure your small groups are working and they're meeting the requirements that you ask of them and they're going to grasp the information. And then remember to celebrate. Plan to showcase a gallery walk or something at the end that is going to show what they have been working on in the small groups. Presentations matter. Public speaking matters, and they should be willing to elaborate on what they have learned. So that's always good for students to do. And so here's a reminder that after the test is not the end. It is the launch pad for real world learning. So allow them to really dive into what is happening in the world around them and to put that into their classroom and to put that into their project as to what they produce. This is a great chance for students to actually produce something because you really can tailor it without the stress of this many days into the test. So hopefully this has been a quick moment for you to just go back and reflect and to think about what you can be doing in your purposeful planning in the next couple of weeks. And let's finish the race, touchdown, because we are right here at the finish line. And I know we got this. So continue to keep up the great work. If you need me, feel free to come by, reach out, send me an email, whatever it is, book me. And I'll be glad to stop by to see all of the great things that you are doing in these last couple of weeks. See you later, Ohana.